Suhag, nice
Come
to
on
see
in.
you.
How are you?
Good, thanks for having us here at your home.
Of course.
Are you down to answer 20 questions for Interfaith Philadelphia's 20th anniversary?
I'll do that.
All right, great. So how are you these days?
Hanging in there. It's a little taxing. The election's coming up, so the news cycle is increasingly toxic, but that's good.
And what are you excited about these days?
Well, I'm an optimist, so I'm pretty excited about what the future holds, even though on some days it feels like there's more dark clouds than silver linings.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's look at those silver linings.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're in your home here, and
Yes.
you have this beautiful piece of artwork.
I do.
Can you tell us about this?
Sure. Well, I picked this piece up, not in India, but in Santa Fe, New Mexico. This is Ganesha, and Ganesha is the embodiment of kind of the universe's ability to remove obstacles. And so very often Ganesha is invoked before any auspicious occasion, sometimes the first thing in the day, any sort of religious ceremony that occurs, you first start with Ganesha. He's known to be wise, and some of the symbolism behind Ganesha is like, say, look at the big ears and kind of a small mouth, so listen more, talk less. His stomach is always full, so see kind of the abundance of the world and live from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. So those are just some of the things about Ganesha that I at least look at the form and think about.
Thank you so much. And you invite us to your home as opposed to a temple. Can
Yes.
you tell us why?
Well, most Hindus will have an altar, and so I actually pray at home, and that's kind of reflective of many Hindus. Certainly we go to our temples because they are centers that have a special sacred aspect to them, and they bring community together, and there is a power of praying together. But on a day-to-day basis, prayer occurs in a Hindu home. And it doesn't necessarily happen at my altar, which I'll show you ultimately, but it can happen when you're right when I get up from bed, I utter a prayer for universal peace and asking Mother Earth for forgiveness because I'm going to be stepping all over her all day and cars are going to be driving on her. But then we might also pray before eating food, thanking the universe for filling us with nutrition that we need to do what needs to be done. And so prayer can be and look very diverse in the Hindu tradition.
Wow, that's great. And I'll just say, for what doesn't come through in the camera, is that it smells incredible here, speaking of food.
I apologize for starting dinner right before you walked in.
What's your favorite sport?
What is my favorite sport? That's a hard one. Well, I guess when it comes to playing, I like field hockey, even though I haven't played in 35 years, but it was a fun sport that I played. To watch, I enjoy watching football, probably more than any other sport, and probably the least favorite sport to watch is golfing.
Okay. And who is your favorite team of any sport?
The Eagles.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know. So I have a rule. We've moved around a lot, so I have a home team rule. Once you've lived somewhere for at least 5 years, you can call that local team a home team. So I've been here in Philadelphia for well over a decade. And then when it comes to college football, I am a Florida Gator.
And where are you from originally?
I'm actually born and raised in California, so I'm a California girl. I left for college and then moved to Gainesville, Florida for college and for law school. And so I was a Floridian for a while, probably over a decade. And then I moved to Minnesota for a bit, and Philadelphia has now been home for quite some time. I'm actually finally getting to the place where I've lived in Philadelphia as long as I lived in California.
Ooh, okay.
So it's gonna be a
True
tie as to where I say I'm from.
And when you were 10 years old in California, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh boy, when I was 10, I think I always wanted to be a lawyer. That might also be some not so subliminal messaging coming from my parents, because I was always argumentative. So they always said something like, this one loves to argue, she's going to be a lawyer. So it might be partial brainwashing from my parents, but I think at 10 I probably already had thought that I wanted to be a lawyer.
All right. So tell us about this.
Well, this is a really traditional art form from the southern part of India that is, they have like different gems and gold finish. It's put on a piece of wood. It's hand painted and then embellished with all of the bling that you see. And this is a form of the goddess of nourishment. And so this was actually a gift from a close family friend of ours who picked it up on his travels to India. It's quite a rare piece, and he just felt that we should have it when my husband and I got married. So it's special for me too.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What's a religious topic that you've been thinking about lately?
Oh boy.
A Hindu topic, a general, an interfaith topic.
Yeah, you know, I have been thinking about faith a lot. You know, religion is a force for good, but too often than not, it is in the news cycle for division. And so that is something that's kind of weighs on me, that how do we take the most positive aspects of religion and what they bring out in people and amplify that, and maybe try to diminish sometimes the hatred that can also be rooted in religion.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely timely. And we're next to yet another beautiful artwork.
This is mother and child. I'm very fortunate to have a sister-in-law who is an artist. So I use my privilege as the elder brother's wife, I suppose, and anytime I'm in her studio, I say, ooh, that would look great in this part of my house. So I have probably stolen some of her best pieces.
It's really beautiful. It must be an honor to know someone who can do art
it
like
is,
that.
because I can only do stick figures. So I am a great admirer of art, and so I like to be surrounded by things that people have created that come out of her imagination. What she does actually is she's gone throughout India and taken photographs of ancient temples, and a lot of these are thousands of years old, so they're kind of dilapidated or worn down through just the elements. She tries to envision in her mind's eye what they may have looked like when the sculptor first created them, and then recreates them with oil on canvas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can head up further.
Yeah, you told us about one daily ritual you have. What's another daily ritual that you have that you'd like to share?
Hindu practice is very diverse, and it's multifaceted. We view all of existence as divine, and so every single thing that you do can be seen as an act of worship. Many people have heard of karma, many people have heard of yoga, but sometimes they don't necessarily know what these things mean. But put together, karma yoga is taking all the fruits of your action, and that's every single action that you do throughout a day, whether it's the way I wash my dishes, to the way I make my bed, to the way I might do my job at the Hindu American Foundation, the way I treat a stranger that I cross on the street. All of the ways in which I choose to act, or the thoughts that come through my head, can be seen as kind of an offering to the divine. And so that sort of attitude or mindset, what it ends up doing is it kind of encourages us to do things that are good, right? Encourages us to look at the greater good, to transcend our differences, to do the best that we can in offering whatever skills that we have, whatever means that we have to kind of serve a higher purpose. And so worship can be a whole lot of different things. It can also be what worship is in many other cultures and traditions, meaning going to a temple or doing a ritual. Even that is worship. So there's a lot of different ways that Hindus would pray, singing. You can sing songs that are invoking the divine. And then we have a whole bunch of ornate, what's it called? Rituals that we do. So I'll show you right here. This is my home altar. And many Hindus would have something like this in their home. And so this is where we would gather as a family to meditate, to do special rituals when it's a special holiday. So just last week we had Shivratri, which celebrates the manifestation of the divine in the form of Shiva, or the Lord of Transformation. So this is kind of where we come to just contemplate, to kind of go inwards and to reflect on whatever things are troubling us, or even just with our hopes and aspirations, and to kind of surrender them to the universe, that if they are meant to be, if they will improve someone's life or multiple lives, then we pray for blessings that those endeavors are successful.
And are there specific components to a prayer room that would be common in every Hindu home?
Probably. You know, for the most part, well, I take that back. Hindus are a very diverse lot. In terms of God, what other religious traditions call God, what we might call the divine or the absolute, some Hindus would worship or pray in a manner where there is no form. And so they might just have a room that is very simple, austere, and maybe they'll have the symbol of Om, if that. Others believe that, or choose to worship particular forms. So they may just have one form. So for instance, a Vaishnava would only have the form of Krishna, or the embodiment of the divine as Krishna. We believe that the divine can manifest in multiple forms. And so you'll see that we have a variety of what are called murtis, and these are made of brass, but they can sometimes be made of wood, sometimes stone. And so that might be something that's common. You would probably see incense. You might see something in which you can put a wick, a cotton wick with either oil or ghee, which is clarified butter. You might see photos of a guru. If a Hindu has a particular guru that they follow, you would see their pictures. Sometimes you might see photographs of ancestors. So these are kind of some of the common things that you might see in a home altar. And they can range. They can be very fancy. They can be very simple. And so I think that, to me, is one of the beauties of Hinduism, is that it allows for a lot of, certainly there's guidelines. It's not a free-for-all, but there's a lot of internal religious freedom for you to explore, because at the end of the day, Hinduism is a wisdom tradition. And what is common to many wisdom traditions is the seeking of truth, asking questions, and those questions can lead to a number of different types of answers. And so there's a lot of internal diversity as a result of that.
Thank you so much. On a totally unrelated note, who is a celebrity that you would love to meet? Or maybe it is related.
Oh, I don't know. A celebrity? I feel like I'm so out of touch with pop culture. You know what? I would love to meet, Sting.
Okay.
If people know him anymore.
And Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
What's your favorite thing to eat in Philadelphia?
Oh boy. You know what? I think we have had such a burst on our pizza scene here. So I love Pizzeria Bedia, but I just discovered Doughboy, and that is really good pizza. I also like pizzata. So give me any kind of pizza from Philly and I'm good.
I love it. I love it. And you mentioned, so I'll ask, and you can mention, what is your favorite part of your job?
Oh boy. I think the favorite part of my job is that I'm able to take kind of my own personal spiritual path and educate people about it. I get to dispel misunderstandings on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really able to take some of the things that really were informative in who I am today and be able to kind of share that with just a whole slew of audiences. And then the second thing, because it's probably a tie, is the people that I work with. They're amazing people. They inspire me day to day to just do my best and bring my best to the table.
I love that. Do you have a favorite season of the year?
It's a tie between fall and spring because it's just, I don't know, a sense of renewal one way or the other. Either you're shedding or you're building. So I like both those seasons.
And two last questions. I'll ask them together. One is there one last thing that you would like to share with us in this room? There's so much in here and it's so rich.
I'd love to share the story of this painting. This is Durga, the mother goddess, and this form is very common to the eastern states, Bengal specifically, in India. And the way she came to me is, I just think, destiny, or karma, some might say. I was out on the main line donating some clothes and gently used items that I was no longer using. And I was at the drop-off and saw this painting, or this, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a painting, but it's like a three-dimensional, I don't know how you would characterize it. But anyways, it's hanging just on the side amongst all the donations. And I come out of the car and I'm like, what is that? And the lady who was taking all the things out of my car, she's like, you know what? Someone dropped off this artwork and she just had such an energy about the frame and the artwork that I didn't want to put her on the ground. This is just some random person. So she hung her up and she's like, I don't know, something is telling me that you should have her. Do you want to take her home? And so I donated a bunch of stuff, but I got something back out of it. I reframed it, but I just thought that, I don't know, it was just kind of a cool thing that someone who's completely unfamiliar with the tradition just felt something emanating out of the piece and just treated it with respect and reverence and then gave it to me.
That's incredible. And the last question is, what is something that you love about Interfaith Philadelphia?
I love the proactive work that the organization does in terms of bringing diverse voices together, but then also making interfaith dialogue practical. Oftentimes my frustration with interfaith dialogue is it doesn't get past the 101. But I think some of the programming that's offered, whether it's training for first responders, or how do you engage in dialogue, constructive dialogue, something that it's kind of a decreasing art, I think, that we are too often talking past one another, but having dialogue is a skill, and sometimes our institutions are not, instilling those skills. So I think that those two things specifically, like making interfaith engagement very practical and very tangible, is what I love most.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much for having us in your home.
Thank you for coming.